Hello everyone, our group's topic is cultural diversity and people in complex projects. The members of our group are Qingqing, Mengqi, Boyuan, and Vivian. Next slides. We will introduce our topic in 5 parts. First, opening and introduction. How culture and diversity contribute to project complexity, strategies for managing cultural complexity, and case study conclusion. Let's imagine this situation. In an international project meeting, the Japanese team leader sends a very polite and respectful long email. It shows care and respect for the teamwork, but when the German engineers read it, they feel confused. They think the email is too long and not clear about the main problems. Because of this, both sides misunderstand each other. The project slows down and they even miss an important deadline. This is a small example, but it shows one key fact. In cross-national and cross-functional teams, culture and diversity often make projects more complex. I will give a short outline preview. First, how culture and diversity increase complexity. Second, strategies for managing complexity. And third, we will look at a real case, the Airbus A380 international teamwork, to understand the challenges and the lessons learned.
In complex projects, cultural differences and diversity are not just about enriching the team background. They are often the core sources of conflict, misunderstanding, and decision delays. According to the Berkeley's model of complexity, complexity arises not only from technical systems but also from interpersonal and communication complexity. And the communication complexity at the organizational level. In international projects, differences in organization structures, languages, and work style among multicultural teams are a key component of structural complexity. First, cross-cultural communication barriers are a common challenge. For example, in high-context culture, such as China and Japan, people tend to communicate indirectly, emphasizing tone and relationships. In low-context cultures, such as the US and Germany, direct expression or rapid feedback are preferred. These stylistic differences can cause misinterpretation of information and even lead to missed project milestones. Second, differences in values and work styles often increase management challenges. For example, some cultures emphasize hierarchy and top-down decision-making, such as India and the Middle East, while others encourage equal participation and consensus, such as the Netherlands and Sweden. In terms of time orientation, some cultures stress punctuality and planning, like Germany, while others are more flexible and adaptive, like Mexico. These differences often result in conflicts over role understanding, task allocation, and decision-making pace, amplifying project dynamism and uncertainty. At the theoretical level, we can draw on two common cross-cultural models. Hobbes' these cultural dimensions help us understand differences in power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and collaboration among countries, while Trump's dimension further reveal how culture influences interpersonal interaction, task orientation, and organizational behavior. Moreover, Dale Dulamy point out that cultural sensitivity and diversity management have become key soft skills for project success, especially in international complex projects, where these skills can be even more critical than technical expertise. In summary, culture and diversity are variable that cannot be ignored in project success. They bring innovation and multiple perspectives, but also add structural and communication complexity, which must address through systematic management strategies.
Now we have looked at how culture and diversity can make projects more complex. I will focus on some practical ways to manage that complexity. In this part, I will talk about two things. First, the behavioral competences that help project teams work across cultures. And second, the practical approaches we can use to put those competences into action in real project environments. Next slide, please. Let's start with behavioral competences, the human skills that make collaboration possible. Adaptability means being flexible with our communication or leadership style depending on the culture we are working with. Empathy helps us see things from other people's perspectives and build mutual respect. Active listening is essential. It ensures that everyone, even quieter voices, feels heard and valued. And conflict resolution skills turn misunderstandings into opportunities to strengthen relationships rather than damage them. According to Dale and Dulamy, these competences are not optional. They are actually critical success factors in international projects. Teams that practice empathy, adaptability, and open communication are far more likely to overcome cultural barriers and deliver successful outcomes. Next slide, please. Of course, knowing the right behaviors is not enough. We need to apply them in daily practice. Sen points out that cultural models like Hofstede or Champagners only makes a difference when they are translated into real project actions. Some practical approaches include cross-cultural training, helps team members recognize cultural differences and avoid unintentional bias. Culturally aware leadership means project managers adjust their style, maybe being more consultative with some teams and more direct with others. Sometimes we need mediators or interpreters, especially when language or hierarchy creates barriers. And finally, inclusive decision-making, ensuring that all cultural perspectives are considered. When these practices are in place, people feel respected and safe to communicate and contribute. That's when diversity becomes an advantage rather than a challenge. Next slide, please. In summary, the key message is simple. Behavioral competence supported by practical strategies leads to stronger multicultural project teams. Cultural models give us a framework to understand differences, but it is adaptability, empathy, and inclusive leadership that really make projects work in practice. As Sen reminds us, the real challenge is not simply understanding cultural differences, but translating that knowledge into everyday practice. When teams achieve this, diversity truly becomes a strategic strength in managing project complexity. Let's have Queenie to introduce the case study.
Thanks, Vivian, for explaining how culture and diversity contribute to the project complexity. And now, building on that, I will move from theory to practice by sharing a real example, the Airbus A380 project.
In the early 2000s, Boeing 747 completely dominated the wide-body aircraft market. We can see the picture in the right. It occupies maybe around 86% of the market. And Airbus launched A380 to challenge this dominance. To capture the half of the market. And it was a huge investment, around 25 billion euros, and involves teams from France, Germany, UK, and Spain. And next page, please. And now let's look at what really happened between the German and French teams. At first glance, it seems to be just a technical problem, a data incompatibility issue, and the wire harness design in Germany did not match the structure built in France, because the German engineers would use the CATIA V4, while the French teams worked with the CATIA V5. These two variants were incompatible, which caused huge confusion and delays in design coordination. However, when we look deeper, the root cause wasn't the software itself, it was culture. German engineers follow a strict, rule-oriented approach, and while precision and standardized are highly valued. And in contrast, the French team prefer a flexible and innovative way of working, often making quick decisions and changing decisions as they went. Okay, as a result, even though both sides were technical skilled, their different working style and communication habits lead to misunderstanding and tension. So, what appeared to be a technical mismatch was, in fact, culture and communication conflict. And this example shows how cultural values can directly influence technical collaborating, and software version differences become symbol of deeper communication barriers. And next page, please. As a result, the A380 project was delayed for 2 years, and the financial loss reached nearly 6 billion euros, and Airbus stock price dropped by 26%. Customers like Singapore Airlines delayed their deliveries, and Airbus' reputation took a serious hit. This shows the culture misaligned isn't just a soft issue. It can have very real financial and organizational consequences. And next, we can see next page, please. And from this failure, Airbus learned some important lessons. First, we realized they need to unify technical standards and software across all countries. And second, they developed cross-cultural communication channels and leadership awareness programs. And third, they began offering intercultural training to help teams understand each other's working styles. In short, technology alone doesn't make a project succeed. People and culture actually do. And this idea connects perfectly to our conclusion, where we will explore how teams and turn culture complexity into strengths. Next page, please.
As we have seen, culture and diversity are not small issues. They are a big part of project complexity. Diversity can be a strength if we manage it well, but it can become a problem if we ignore it. Models like hospitals or champions help us understand cultural difference, but real success depends on people, on our adaptability, empathy, and teamwork. To make cultural diversity a source of new ideas, we need to more than theory. We need awareness and real action from every team member and leader. Diversity is the mix. Inclusion is making the mix work. And one last question. If you were leading a multicultural project tomorrow, what one behavior would you like to improve? That's all for presentation.